If a doctor was to come to you and say that I've come to help you, but the doctor is charging extortionate money, then what are you going to say to the doctor? You're going to say, doctor, you're here to help yourself. You're here to fill your pockets up and help yourself. So tell me, when someone has done ruqya and then they come to you and they say, oh, I'm just here to help you. Oh, I was just trying to help old people. I was just trying to help old people. What are you talking about? When you're charging extortionate money, you're helping yourself, mate. You're helping yourself. So don't try and say, I'm just there to help people. And if anything goes wrong with your ruqya business or whatever else you're doing, and you've hurt someone or you've left someone in some tragedy or some pain or whatever you've done, okay? You can't just turn around and say, I'll just go secretly and do my tawbah to Allah. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. I'll tell you why. The Sharia has said that if you have done a mistake that is between you and God, like you've missed a prayer, or you haven't actually, done something which Allah Azza wa Jal told you to do, and just between you and Allah Azza wa Jal, that's it. Then you do tawbah to Allah, that's it, that's fine. That's your tawbah with Allah and He can forgive you and that's finished. But if it involves a third person, whether you hurt someone, you took some money off someone, you took something of someone, or you didn't give someone's right, or whatever it might be, and it's a third person involved, then you can't go secretly and just say, oh, I'm just going to go and do tawbah to Allah and that's it. Sorry, you can't do that. This is the Sharia. This is not a joke. All right? You have to get forgiveness from those people specifically, each and every person. If you don't, then you're held accountable on the Day of Judgment, because those people can claim against you on the Day of Judgment. It's very clear from the Sharia. There's a hadith to prove this. Now, all these, mistakes or whatever that might be done, the next thing is to do the blame game. So there's a few of you Iraqis together, and then you say that, oh, it's not my fault, it's his fault. It's her fault, his fault. I'm sorry, just because the world right now might be focused on one person who might have been a perpetrator, but you're also another perpetrator. You were along with them, or you knew things, or you were part of things. Just because everyone's intention is going to go over there doesn't mean that you are exonerated from what you've done. It doesn't mean that. I'm being serious here, because Allah Azza wa Jal, when He puts the scales of the Day of Judgment, He's going to take all those who are involved, in the mistake, because Allah said in the Holy Quran, when the Quran is being, let's just say, take another example, okay? When the Quran is being mocked and there's people sitting there, they're watching that it's being mocked, and they don't get up from there and move. Allah says, "Innakum idha mithluhum," you too will share the sin. Now, you are part of something and you're trying to just put the blame somewhere else. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. You take your responsibility, and on the Day of Judgment, even if people's eyes go elsewhere, whoever you've hurt, you take that responsibility on your shoulders. The next thing I want to say is that, all these kind of ruqya, and I'll tell you another one, there's a hijama, okay? Ruqya and hijama. What happened is that, these Quran Sunnah literalists, they look for a hadith. If they don't find a hadith backing something that you can do, then they're not going to take it. Okay, fine, that's their usul. So what they did is they found two things to take money from, right? They found in the religion, basically. So they found this ruqya thing and they found this hijama thing. And I'm telling you, in the last 10 years, this ruqya business and hijama business has gone like crazy, right? What that means is that we've got these 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, little, kids from the streets, okay, going around and becoming Ghostbusters. They want to become Ghostbusters. Well, I've got some news for you, okay? First is, how do you allow this little kid or 20-year-old, 25-year-old just to come and do ruqya? How do you allow this? Would you allow a newly graduate doctor or something? Even then, a doctor is actually, newly graduate doctor. He's actually done a proper 6 years or 7 years. These kids have just probably done 6-7 hours somewhere, or 6-7 weeks somewhere, all right? Max 6-7 months somewhere under somebody else, and then they become this kind of Ghostbuster. What on earth do they even know about this profession, one thing? Second is, they come, and there's multiple reports that I have received about this, okay? They'll go and they'll say, okay, half an hour, this much, right? Now, in Ruqya session, you should know that half an hour, you're just warming things up. So at the end of the 30 minutes, the patient is probably flaring up. This kid is now going to walk out unless you give him the next half an hour's money. Give him the next 50 quid. Give him the next 100 quid. All right? So there you're giving 50 quid, 50 quid. Every half an hour's going and you give him 50 quid. Then after about 2 hours, he realizes, the little kiddo realizes that this is a demon that is beyond my powers. So then he turns around to the family and says, I'm sorry, I can't help, it's beyond me, and he walks off. And your family members there going like nuts and crazy because the jinn's making them go, completely off the rails. And you're there in the middle of the night, you don't know who else to turn to. This has happened to a multiple number of families. We need to speak about this. And part of, exposing these raqis is to expose these kind of things that they're doing. You can't just walk in a place like some kind of filthy lawyer that's just interested in your own money. So you're just charging by the meter and then you leave these people. All right, leave these people like this. Ruqya needs days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years, sometimes. How dare you just come in and just like, where's your care for these people? Tell me. Do you really care for these people? If you care for these people, then you do your full job and then you leave, right? And the other thing is that don't try and say you're helping people when you're charging extortionate kind of money. The real helpers will be those who are not going to look at the pockets. They're going to look at the patients. They're going to look at the Muslim ummah, brothers and sisters. They need help. And the thing is, don't try and pretend you're some kind of big raqi, okay? When you've only done a few, little jinns here, you bust a few jinns, little jinns. You got to know that this Ruqya business, or let's just not call it business, let's call it the Ruqya entity. It's very, very dangerous, my friend. I'm warning all the Raqis out there, and I'm warning especially those little toddler Raqis in the 20s and 30s going around and thinking they're huge Ghostbusters, right? It's very dangerous. I'll tell you why. Because I've actually been in contact with a lot of senior Raqis, okay? And all of them, I'm telling you right now, all of them, of the senior Raqis, constantly reading Quran, constantly doing dhikr. And when I say constantly, I mean subhanallah, these guys are like doing hours, like 6, 7, 8 hours a day of reading Quran, of doing dhikr. This is not Quran and Ruqya sessions. No, my friend. This is their personal Quran, their personal recitation during the daytime, nighttime, tahajjud. They will make sure that they're not, in any filthy business, dirty business. Now we got what? We got Raqis leading double lives. Do you know what that means? These senior Raqis have told me that if they're not in Ruqya constantly, then the jinns can attack them, especially when they're weak. And one place when the jinns attack you, so I tell you one time when the jinns really attack you is when you're old, my friend. Because that's when you get a bit sloppy and you're a bit probably tired, or you're too you haven't got that energy that you used to have when you're in your 20s or 30s, okay? A lot of Raqis out there have been targeted at the end of their life. And if they haven't been targeted, their family members have been targeted. So that's why senior Raqis are always reading constantly on their children, on their wives, on their household. They're constantly trying to protect themselves. So it's not a small game you just walk into and you think that, I'm going to make loads of money, quick money, and just get out there. You've got something to worry about. And I'm telling you, some of this stuff that's going out there, jinns have also got a way of getting at people. I'll tell you, just understand what I'm trying to say to you. Okay, the next thing is this hijama thing, right? There are those, okay, these little, again, I'm going to call them toddler hijama kind of things. They're in their early 20s, early 30s. They think that they're going to go and just do the hijama. Hijama, okay, fine. It's cupping, which the Prophet ﷺ also got done. Okay, but do you know the people that used to do hijama in his time were experts? Experts. These are people that were doing it for a lifetime. They knew that, look, even in this country, in any country, when you do hijama, you're supposed to have knowledge of blood circulation, knowledge of the body. You're supposed to have basic knowledge or more. I mean, I'd say basic is like the minimum, but basic knowledge of, people's the body. How does the body work, right? I mean, most of these, hijama, guys who do hijama, they don't ask patients about the medical history. They don't try and find out about how much blood they've got. They don't try and find out what other problems or symptoms or things they've got, what medication they might be taking, what problems they're going through. This is basic procedure, my friend. You're going to go out there and you're going to start doing, start doing hijama. I'll tell you, look, I'm in contact with, a few people who are doctors, okay? Real doctors who actually spent 7 years, okay? And then spend another 10, 20 years in the profession. And they've told me they know certain Raqis that, certain hijama guys, okay, sorry, not Raqis, but the guys who do hijama, they've turned around to them at the 12th hour and said, doctor, please come to my rescue. There's a hijama patient here that, something's gone wrong. Do you know that hijama goes wrong as well? Just do this. Go to Google right now, put hijama gone wrong, and look at the list and the videos and the posts of people posting when it's gone wrong. Do you know that it goes wrong and they try to brush it under the carpet? Oh, let's not talk about it. It was just a patient here. There was one incident. All right, I know I'm not going to give you the hijama sort of number or the center, but you know what? There was a 70-year-old that had to be taken in by an ambulance with cardiac arrest. There's cases where people have got back problems that have gone worse after hijama because these guys don't know what they're doing. They're just given 1 month, 2 months somewhere, hijama, some kind of cupping, and that's it. I'm going to go get a set of cupping, what about some set. I'm just going to do it in my house. Or I'm just going to go around people's house and just do cupping and charge £35 a session, 40, 50 pounds a session. It's just money making these people. Honestly, I'd never allow any one of them to touch my body because unless it's a doctor who actually knows, full about patients and knows about hijama as well. And then if that doctor was to say to me, I want to do hijama, that's fine. But I've never found one because these doctors, doctors are busy with what they're doing. But you know what? Doctors know that there's way beyond, the average person's knowledge that you need to have to try and do these kind of cuppings, right? So I'm going to ask you, right, all of you out there, please be careful, okay? Please be careful again. Number one, of this whole ruqya business that started, and it's gone crazy. It's like a business. These people are just jumping in, right? Just get in there. People don't know. People don't know otherwise. Let them in, invite them in, and allow them to do some ruqya or some hijama. And some do double. They're like, yeah, I'll do ruqya on you, and I'm going to do hijama on you, and I'm going to make you better. I tell you one thing to do, okay? If you ever want to pick any of these guys up, whether they claim to do ruqya or do hijab or whatever, okay? And they're all going to tell you their best stories ever. Oh my God, it just doesn't get any better, okay? They're going to tell you the stories which if you hear, you're going to say, wow, I found the best raqi, the best hijama guy ever because they cured this person and that person, that person. Guess what? They never told you all the budge-ups they did, okay? All the mistakes, all the patients they mucked up, all right? The health problems that they started, which weren't even there, or after their sessions. They're not going to tell you any of that, okay? I'm telling you, they'll never tell you a story where they muck things up. All these guys have gone through guinea pig stages, okay, where they muck people up. They'll never talk about it, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you simple. You start asking, okay, ask other people. Okay, so ask this Raqi or ask this hijab guy, who have you treated? Right? Who have you treated? Give me a list of those people you've treated. When they give you the list, go and see those people. Go and ring them up. Go and speak to them. Go and get testimonies of the people who they dealt with, right? Not only that, because they might just give you their best cases, okay? You need to go into the community, the real place, not just to, take their references, but try and find what people are saying generally in the community if you can. If you find that they've got a good track record from all the people that have recommended them, then alhamdulillah, go ahead. But if you find that there are cases where people haven't been happy, just leave them. Seriously, leave them. And any one of these guys that turns around to you, ruqya or hijama, without 10 years of experience, tell them to go off on their bike. Assalamu alaikum.